And I was transvexing now into this, who am I really? Okay, I have been analyzing myself all this time, but who really am I? Like, let's face it, like, let's put the plain black and white picture of who am I really? Like, who am I as a human? Who am I as a soul? Who am I as a consciousness? Who am I as a awareness? Who really am I? What do I feel like? Am I feeling like a being? Am I feeling like a soul? Am I feeling like a spirit, as a body, or what? Like, what really am I? And at that time, I didn't have the emotional understanding and stability yet. I didn't build the understanding that would give me the emotional freedom in a way. So the first year was like almost more traumatizing than before. Just screwing up, continuing to screw up situations, continue to create more and more pain for myself until I managed to find out what emotions are and how to actually deal with them. So I finally understood, by going through such intense emotional period, how I have tapped into this ancient knowledge, into this instinctual, intuitive knowledge that resides in me, into this library of information. And I have, by going through like a deep emotional traumatizing event, I have like a sort of intelligence came out, and I have instinctually remembered what to do with those emotions. And I have discovered, in a way, rediscovered or whatever, remembered the process or technique that now I call feeling the feelings, which I have been starting to write, and I have been writing numerous articles about, and I continue to study this process, which currently I find to be the only process I found that actually brings a definitive, clear resolution to emotional situations, emotional trauma, especially hard emotional events. And I feel this technique of feeling, of learning how to feel, of accepting first, accepting to feel, is what actually can save us as a human species. And I have a whole observations about this. Just briefly describing is what I have been observing is that humanity is like circling itself in loops of existence, is just looping on the same patterns, the same scenarios over and over through cycles of times, just reenacting the same emotional theaters, the same emotional drama through different persons, different scripts, different scenarios, different archetypes, different eras, different technologies, but it's the same pattern. It's like it's one single story going on and repeating itself through millions of stories, millions of scripts, millions of clothing, millions of scenarios, millions of races, millions of... It's going on through the universe. It's not only on Earth, it's everywhere. It's almost a pattern. It's the patterned story of the universe, repeating itself through countless life forms. Everything, it's repeating one single drama. And what I have been discovering is that it is repeating itself because it is not lived. It's a trauma that has happened in the history of this universe, even at the birth I could almost theorize that it's the trauma of this universe being birthed. You know how in the human realm they say that there is a child birth trauma, like each child, the birthing process is a traumatic birth for a soul. Well, my theory is that the birthing process, the Big Bang itself, was a traumatic event for the universe. And that trauma, it's a single event, it's a single trauma that expanded and multiplied in countless billions, infinite, up or almost infinite life forms through the universe. And it's a trauma that the universe didn't know how to process. See, people think that it's only humans that have a damaged psyche and they don't know how to process trauma. My theory is that the universe itself, the intelligence, the cosmic intelligence of the universe itself, is like a child who doesn't know how to process a certain trauma. And the universe is making humans and life forms, not only humans, billions upon billions, just to process this event or this. It's like a question. It's not for the universe. It doesn't feel like a trauma. It's only for us that it feels like a trauma. But for the universe, it doesn't feel like a trauma. It feels like a question. It's like it's an unsolved puzzle. The universe has a question. The universe seeks to answer a certain question it has. The universe came to a certain event which left it with a question. It didn't understood the thing, this universe we are in. This is my observations, in a way, an inner knowledge about this. It's like the universe came across an event that didn't know how to understand it. And it created itself a side reality, aside the Big Bang, the whole universe in a way, just to be able to simulate countless life forms, countless everything, like interactions, just to answer that particular thing it couldn't understand. And for the universe, it feels only as a question, as something it wants to understand, but for us, it feels like a traumatic thing. We can't move past that. And my theory is that basically we are learning to feel and to understand something through our existence here. Yeah, we might it might seem that we are living on earth and doing our things and multiplying and making children and raising generations and just living life on earth. But from my observations, all this life on earth, all the species, all the human generations, seen as a whole, one single organism, one single DNA, let's say, is like trying to understand something through its lifespan, through millions of individuals, billions of individuals, like countless generations. It's like I see one single organism perpetuating itself like a snake, like a river, and going on through time, moving through time like a snake going through time, like a river going through time, multiplying itself by people and generations and making new, and going through time, trying to understand something. And us, through our own individual lives, we are all also trying to understand something. But some of us, we are so unconscious of our lives that we barely get to answer a tiny fracture of this question in our lifespan. And this is where it comes, like recycling individuals and what they have been named as in religion, and it says that you die and you get rebirthed, and that's because that particular soul didn't answer the question. When you answer as from a soul perspective, my inner observations and knowledge shows me that when the soul manages to answer that question, it's it, it's like the end of the cycles, the end of the rebirthing and the samsara and all this stuff. It's a question. And my observation and my experience with emotional trauma lead me to understand that the first step, and this feels quite vital, of understanding how to the path to answering the question is not the answer, it's the path that opens the door to get to start figuring out the answer. It's like opening the first door, it's feeling the feelings. So my observations led me to understand that everything is looping, all the existence is looping due to some feelings not being felt. Feelings carry a sort of multi-dimensional electromagnetic information throughout the universe. This is what feelings are. It's like radio waves. You know how a radio wave transmits basically information through electromagnetic waves that hit a radio membrane, and then the radio manifests those electromagnetic waves into vibrational sound that can be heard by our ears. So these waves are all around us. Well, this is how emotions are also. But they are of a multi-dimensional magnitude that can transmit universal information throughout the universe. So basically, emotions are like the heartbeats or the hormones of the universe. And emotions are not only felt by humans, they are felt by every life form in the universe. Um, so basically what emotions are, they are storing information, and in order for us to answer this question that the universe is having, we need to pertain of the information. If we don't acknowledge and we don't leave the information, a certain type of information, we can't answer the question. So first we need to have all the data in a way in order to answer the question. And many people on earth, I've seen many people on earth thinking that they can understand life only through the mind, but they, in my opinion, they fail to figure out that the mind is only there to help them process emotional information. But they can't figure out that all their ideas come as an emotion inside of them, as a spark, a sensation, but they are not aware that first the information comes as a signal, as a sensation, as an electromagnetic wave from the universe in a way that comes through them, through their own radio, and then they decode it through the mind, and they think they had a certain idea, but it's only emotion at the base. So what happens is that what I see is that these emotions are hitting our inner human mind, core mind, and what I have been observing is that there is something in the human system that makes us avoid decoding emotional information. It's like we completely despise and avoid feeling the feelings, which in return, which is the direct path to uncovering the emotional information. So we avoid feeling the feelings, and I don't know why, but it seems such an ingrained avoidance, such an ingrained rejection to feeling the feelings. And what I have been observing is that most of what people call emotions, are just rejected feelings. You know, we are like a person usually feels like, oh, I feel happy. or I feel sad. But it doesn't understand that the feeling, the emotion of happiness is only a byproduct of rejection actually. Of rejecting to actually feel the underlying deeper feeling, which is unspoken, with no concept in it. There is no word for that underlying feeling. It comes like a thing from the universe that's all around the space of the universe. It's all around. It's like waves that pass through you, and when they reach the human, it's like a wave that reaches the human, and instead of passing through and absorbing the information and like enriching all the consciousness of the human with that thing, the human is like a mirror, and the wave comes, and here is a rejection, and the wave of the universe comes with the information, the live information from the universe, and hits the human, and instead of going through the human, it reaches like a mirror, and it is rejected. And what the human feels here, it's not a total, it's like the information is rejected, but here inside the human, an emotion, that rejection creates an emotion that now gets perceived, and the human feels like, okay, ooh, I have an emotion, I feel sad or I feel joyful, but it doesn't understand that, yeah, I only feel the emotion, but I have been stripping the information out. So I am stripping myself of the information, and this is why the information, the same wave, comes over and over, and it's a loop of existence because we don't take in the information. We only feel like we don't, somehow, I don't know what made the psyche be reluctant. It's like somebody put a mirror here, and the waves of the universe doesn't hit us anymore. So this is why the existence, everything continues to loop. It's like a loop of here on earth, I mean. It's a loop of existence. Now, this person who has rejected feeling that information births a new human from him, which through its life will probably learn how to deal with that information or not, and probably to reject it. In that, like a generations, like a human species, it will create more and more and more of itself to try to answer in a way that question, to try to first figure out that information that comes from the universe, that information the universe couldn't understand, tries to come through each human, each life form, in order to be figured out. But first we need to absorb the information in, and that we can only do by feeling the feelings. And that process of feeling the feelings is something internal. You can't go to a psychologist to help you feel your feelings. You can't you can't do anything in a way. You can't do it. Even me speaking about feelings, it's only rejecting them. If you speak about them, you can only just close your eyes or keep them open, whatever, and just feel the feeling. Like you have a feeling, feel it. Just stop rationalizing, stop throwing concepts, stop throwing why that happened, why you are feeling the way you feel. It doesn't matter what brought you to feel the way you feel. It only matters, the most important thing is that you feel. That's the only thing that matters. In that moment, when you feel something, the most important is just to feel. Stop everything you're doing. It's so vital to stop acting, to stop doing any action when you're feeling something. You need to feel the feelings, at least a bit. Feeling the feelings grants you access. You stop, it's like you deactivate the mirror, and you let in a bit of that information to touch you, to penetrate the mirror, and to really touch your soul. And you will not understand that information in a mental or conscious way at first. At first, I will get that. And you will only be feeling like, oh shit, like, oh, this is so unpleasant to just feel things. So unpleasant just to stay with that feeling, and just stop wanting to get answers, stop wanting to act it out. For example, if you're happy, stop wanting to say, oh wow, I'm so happy. Just feel the happiness, feel the feeling. If you're sad, stop expressing it out, stop blaming yourself, stop doing anything, just feel it. Feel the sadness. And at first it would feel like nothing. It would feel, yeah, but I didn't gain anything. But if you look, you'll see that you're never the same. Like that process changed you. Your whole life starts to change. People start responding differently to you without doing anything, in a way. Like you didn't have a mental breakthrough. Like first at first, when you feel the feelings, it doesn't feel like anything happens. Like it doesn't come with like a mental breakthrough, or yeah, I know why that happened. It's not. It's a way. It's outside of reasons. It's outside of why that happened. It's like feeling the feelings. It stops the mind. It's like it doesn't matter why that happened. It doesn't matter what brought us to this point. It doesn't matter what brought this feeling to me. Is it only matters that I feel things, and let me feel. That's the only thing that matters. And you're just staying like that, and you're feeling, and that's it. And most of the times, by doing that, I observe myself at some point coming up with, without wanting, like I'm not thinking about it, I'm not trying to think anymore, I'm not trying to find explanations. Now I'm just feeling, and all of a sudden this aha thing comes, and I see it. It's like I see it. I immediately, without even wanting, I see why that happened. I see, but when I see it, it's not like I see one event. It's like I all of a sudden see the whole web of correlating events. Is like a whole map. That, like, feeling the feeling is like opening up immediately through the mind, opening up the mind to a whole map of understanding. It's not like it's the feeling shows me a single explanation. It like shows me the whole map of all the explanations quantically at once. It's like something is downloaded inside my mind. Like all of a sudden, it's like I know everything related to that. I know all of a sudden by just making the effort. And by the way, it's an effort to do that, to feel the feeling. It's like all of a sudden I understand. I understand humanity in a way. I understand why this happened across spans of lifetime, spans of time, throughout mentalities, throughout how the brain works, how the universe works, how I basically I understand. It's like I see the knowledge right before my eyes, and it's not one event, it's all events that comprised and formed that emotion that then got recycled and looped and tried to be felt by all these people, and I see all the intricacy of the puzzle that led to that. And even in my life, like sometimes just accepting to feel a feeling that a certain person, so let's say a certain person has done something, and now I'm feeling intensely, let's say, in a distressful situation, and just feeling that distress, that inner fear I feel, or that shame or guilt or whatever that event caused me to feel, and just stopping to find explanations, stopping to find reasons for it, just feeling it. All of the sudden, if I make that effort, but I need to reinforce that it's not easy. Like my mind tries to trick me to find explanations mentally, to try to figure out, to think of something else, to not feel it. So it's a constant will power, a will from my side to actually stop the mind in those moments and feel it. My mind tries to trick me to eat, or to talk with someone, or to think of how that person is a jerk, or watch a movie, or whatever, just to delay feeling it, and try to send that feeling to the unconscious side. Just try to diverge it from my conscious awareness. And my mind constantly does that. And I've seen my mind, constantly doing that. And if I make the effort to say no to the mind, no, I don't want distractions. I don't want to eat. I don't want to consider that that person is a jerk just because I feel in pain right now. I don't want to watch a movie. I don't want to, I don't know, talk. I just want to feel the feelings. I am, let's say, I want to stay on my 2 feet, and I can handle myself mind. I right now I can handle myself, because this is what the mind only tries to help in a way. It sees me like, oh yeah, she can't handle this situation, I need to help. And the mind tries to help. That's the mind only tries to help. But I need to show to the mind that I can handle myself, I can handle this situation, and I can feel my feelings. And then if somebody, as I said, is, let's say, said something or provoked an emotion within me, and without, like, instead of trying to blame or find a reason how to avoid that same situation next time, and then instead of doing this stuff, I try to connect with my feelings and just feel what I feel, like the anger or the betrayal or the I don't know, whatever feelings I feel, guilt, shame, whatever. Instead of trying to find explanations, I just feel. It's like when I say that feeling, at first it's so like, I don't know, it's like I'm being eaten by a black hole. This is how it feels. Like something eats me, like a big thing eats me, and I'm just thinking like that, and I allow myself to be eaten alive. This is how I feel, like I'm being eaten alive. But I allow it. I allow myself. And if I allow it, all of the sudden, it feels like at some moment it happens, like recurrently happened, that I'm all of a sudden seeing the whole picture. I am seeing how, why that person said that, what happened in its life, what that person was feeling through other persons, other scenarios, why that happened, that it said to me, why it resonated with me, and I see the whole map all of a sudden without even trying. Like I'm seeing the whole spectrum. I'm seeing it. And that's when it gets dissolved. From my experience, that emotion is like, it completely gets, it's, once it reached, the information reached me, it passed through it. I didn't hold it. I stopped holding the mirror here, in that i i I let the emotion hit me, and it hit me, and I took the heat, and I felt the implosion and whatever, and I took in the information, the the looping here in the exterior reality, other events that would have provoked the same emotion in me, from my observation are stopped. Like that thing stops. I almost never, that emotion stops in a way. That's the best I can describe. That person, if it ever provoked a certain type of shame in me, and I managed to feel that shame, it's like I am absolved of that particular emotion. Like I can go in the world then, after that event, and I can go in the world, and here I am, like I have, like, it's like I have absolved a certain school. Like, yeah, I know it now. Like, I'm here, I can be in the world, I can take in, like, it's like, it's not, it's like I understand that's nothing. Like, but I am embodying that truth. Like, I am embodying that knowledge. I have really understood what that emotion is through all of its dimensions, in a way. And now I can go into the world, and I can finally be in the world from that spectrum. And from what I observe is like I cease to have any pain related to those kinds of situations, those kinds of words, flawlessly. It's not like I impose myself to not hold judgments on people, or it's just I observe myself having like almost a laugh at, yeah, who cares, like I understand it, I see it, I know why that happens, like, yeah. And that's pretty much like from what I see, that if I do this process of feeling the feelings, it's like all the exterior reality changes. People stop talking to me in a certain way that bothered me in the past. Just changes. It's like, well, certain events stop happening. I've seen really miracles happening, like events disappearing overnight, just by me feeling the feelings, to a degree. Like somebody was threatening my life, and it took me 2 days to feel those feelings, and that person's like, after 1 year of threatening my life, it just announced me in those days that it's leaving the country, and I never heard from that person. It's like the whole scenario changes. It's like, this is how I figured out that all the reality here is just a reenactment of our emotional, unlived emotions. Yeah, that's the word. It's the whole reality. It's only a theater, a reenactment, an enactment of our unlived emotions. And once we take in that information, once we learn to stop, to deactivate that mirror, and we let the information penetrate us and touch us, and that's when the exterior reality changes. It stops needing to loop the same scenarios. It can finally, life can start finally, new life can start touching me. And this is how I understood that we slowly can come back to life, by feeling our feelings.